Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Yashoda Nandana Raja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Raja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Chariyam Yamuna Tira Vanachariyam Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Yashoda Nandana Raja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Raja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Raja Janaranjana Tira Vanachariyam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hare Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Grantaraja Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakara Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganam Raghunatang Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshva Mantreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Jai. Naishtiki Bhakti. What is Naishtiki Bhakti? Yes. What does the word Naishtiki come from? Nishta. And what does Nishta come from? From sta, which means to stand, to be fixed. And ni is down, so really fixed. Naishtiki. How do we get Naishtiki Bhakti according to this verse? By Nityam Bhagavata Seva. Yes. What does Nitya mean? Huh? Always, yes. It can also mean daily. In the context of practicing any kind of regulation, usually the word nitya means every day. Today, which is, what's the date today?
Wednesday, July 17th, Wednesday.
17th of July. And it's Ekadashi. Happy Ekadashi. 17th of July, 2024. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. How fortunate we are. Canto 5, Chapter 1, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. What did Priyavrata mean? One whose vow or vows, one whose vow is pleasing. Okay, and we're going to read verse 18, but before we read verse 18, does anyone remember anything about the verse we read yesterday? Verse 17? Anyone who was here? Yes, Rasash.
Even if you renounce and go to the forest, you will be accompanied by the 6 co-wives. Only if we have attraction to the Atma, Krishna, then we can control them.
Very good, yes. What are these 6 co-wives?
The mind and senses.
Yeah, they can be the mind and senses. We'd have to look at commentaries, but I suspect it could also be taken as Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, and Matsarya. Those are often identified as 6 troublemakers. Let's reread that verse. Even if he goes from forest to forest, one who is not self-controlled must always fear material bondage, because he is living with 6 co-wives, the mind and knowledge-acquiring senses. Prabhupada gives that as sometimes he would do purport within the translation. Even householder life, however, cannot harm a self-satisfied learned man who has conquered his senses. Yeah. Right. And who was speaking? Lord Brahma, whose what's his relationship with Priyavrata? Grandfather. And what is his purpose in speaking that verse? To convince him to become a householder. Okay. And more specifically, to reassure him that he need not fear fall down, right? Okay, continuing. We have verse 18. Yashat sapatnan vijigishamano. Yashat sapatnan vijigishamano. Griheshu nirvishya yateta purvam. Griheshu nirvishya yateta purvam. Atyeti durga shrita urjitarin. Atyeti durga shrita urjitarin. Kshineshu kamang vicharet vipaschit. Kshineshu kamang vicharet vipaschit. Others can chant. Yaha, anyone who, Shat, 6, Sapatnan, adversaries. Now we had the same word in the previous verse, Shat Sapatnan, and there they were referred to as 6 co-wives, and here there are 6 adversaries. Interesting. Vijigishamana, desiring to conquer. Yeah, there's a form of the Sanskrit verb called the desiderative form, which indicates desire to do something. So, atato brahma jigyasam, that jigyasa is the desire to know. So here we have the desire to conquer. Griheshu, in household life. Now this is a little interesting, curious to me why it's plural, because it's plural locative, literally in houses. Okay, nirvishya, having entered in houses. Yateta, must try. Purvam, first. Atyeti, conquers. Literally extends over or goes over. Durga Ashita, being in a fortified place. The word Durga, ga means to go, and dur means difficult. So difficult to go, difficult to penetrate. That's what a fortress is. So Durga is also according to the Brahma Samhita, Durga is present in Vaikuntha. Jiva Goswami explains, and she's what is she doing there? She's keeping out those who should not be, who don't belong there. Yes. Urchita Arin. What means Ari? Enemy. And Arin means plural, enemies. Urjita Arin, very strong enemies. Chineshu, decreased. Also strange. I think it must somehow refer to the griheshu, reduced houses. Kamam, lusty desires. Vicharet, can go. Vipaschit, the most experienced, learned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One who is situated in household life and who systematically conquers his mind and 5 sense organs is like a king in his fortress who conquers his powerful enemies. After one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have decreased, he can move anywhere without danger. Purport: the Vedic system of 4 varnas and 4 ashramas is very scientific, and its entire purpose is to enable one to control the senses. What's the purpose of varna and ashrama? Yeah, that's the whole point. Interesting. Before entering household life, Grihastha ashram, a student is fully trained to become Jitendriya, a conqueror of the senses. Such a mature student is allowed to become a householder, and because he was first trained in conquering his senses, he retires from household life and becomes vanaprastha as soon as the strong waves of youthful life are past and he reaches the verge of old age at 50 years or slightly more. Then, after being further trained, he accepts sannyasa. He is then a fully learned and renounced person who can move anywhere and everywhere without fear of being captivated by material desires. The senses are considered very powerful enemies. As a king in a strong fortress can conquer powerful enemies, so a householder in Grihastha ashrama, household life, can conquer the lusty desires of youth and be very secure when he takes vanaprastha and sannyasa. And so ends Srila Prabhupada's purport to a verse about Grihastha life, and I always wonder, why is it that I always get these verses to talk about? Yashatsapatnan vijigisham griheshu nirvishya yateta purvam atyeti durgashrita urjitarin kshineshu kamang vicharet vipaschit. One who is situated in household life and who systematically conquers his mind and 5 sense organs is like a king in his fortress who conquers his powerful enemies. After one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have decreased, kshineshu, he can move anywhere without danger. Okay, Brahma is continuing his, we might say, preaching to his grandson to convince him for what? What's he want to convince him of?
That it's not dangerous to enter household life.
And because he wants to convince him to
Become a king.
and become a householder, right? Sort of to step way back and think about a kind of abstraction in relation to the Bhagavatam, persuasion and dissuasion. Sometimes we are persuaded to do something, and sometimes we are dissuaded from doing something, right? So, can we think of any other examples in the Bhagavatam of persuasion or dissuasion? Persuasion to do something, dissuasion, don't do it. Yes, Damodar.
Narada Muni tries to dissuade Dhruva Maharaj to go to the forest
Okay, very good. Yes. Is he successful?
No.
No. Okay, another example.
Also, Narada Muni tries to persuade the children of Daksha to not enter Grahastha life but renounce.
So it's kind of interesting. It's in the same book, and we're getting Narada persuading them not to enter household life. Yes. Yes, that's interesting. Yes. Yes.
Narada persuading King Kamsa to kill all the children of Devaki.
Narada persuading King Kamsa to kill all the children of Devaki. Yes. Okay. And how about another persuasion in relation to Kamsa, or dissuasion? First chapter, 10th canto Bhagavatam. After, I'm giving all the hints, after Kamsa has heard a voice in the sky telling him something.
Vasudeva
Yes, what does Vasudev do?
dissuades him to not kill Devaki.
Yeah. He dissuades, because Kamsa is such a madman. When he heard this, when he heard that the eighth child of your sister, actually his cousin, is going to kill you, what does he do?
Kill you.
Huh?
Try to kill her.
Well, he immediately pulls out his sword, he grabs her by her hair. Imagine. And they're on their way to her wedding. And there's crowds of people all around. It's described. Everyone is seeing this, and he's about to chop off her head. So Vasudeva has to think really fast how to dissuade him from killing. And he does so, of course, successfully with several pertinent, we can say, arguments. Any other examples? Yes.
I believe it was Lord Brahma who dissuaded Maharaj Prithu from entering into this competition with Indra with the Ashwamedha.
Ah, yes. Whether we say he dissuaded him from entering, or he persuaded him to get out of it, because you could say he was already competing, and that was the problem. Okay, yes. And maybe one more. Yes.
And the Brahmanas didn't want their wives to go with other to the forest.
The Brahmins whose wives are determined to go to the forest, their husbands say, don't go, and they ignore them, which reminds me of another dissuasion which didn't work. What is that?
Maybe that. I'm thinking Maharaj when Krishna told Nanda Maharaj to not worship Indra, and persuaded him to not worship Viraj.
Okay.
To Indra, and then
Yes. So I had another case in mind of dissuasion from going away in the fourth canto. Yes. Yeah, I don't know if there's any dissuasion effort going on there, but yes, Damodar Prasad.
Shiva speaking to Sati.
Yes, Lord Shiva speaks to Sati. He gives reasons. You should not go to this yajna of your father. Why? Because you're not going to be respected there, and there's going to be trouble. And Sati rejects his arguments and kind of says, I don't know if she says anything, but she goes anyway. And sure enough, Lord Shiva was right. There will be trouble, and there was trouble. Okay. It's an interesting topic, this, because it comes up so much in our literature. Bhagavad Gita is all about a persuasion on the part of Krishna, persuading Arjuna to fight. Although Arjuna had so many actually good reasons, reasonable reasons, to not fight. He explains all of the consequences of the war that will happen. But Krishna says, Krishna kind of ignores those arguments, really, and gives his own arguments why Arjuna should fight. Okay, so Brahma is persuading and convincing Priyavrata to take up a position as a king and as a householder, and he's reassuring him. He's reassuring him of what? He's reassuring him that there will be no compromise, we could say, to his spiritual life. We might want to think about this also in the context of the principle of Sharanagati. Right? There are 6 principles to Sharanagati. Let's see if we can remember them. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshishyatiti vishvasaha, which means what? Rakshishyati? Yes. Literally, he protects. Rakshishyati iti. It's like in quotation marks. He protects. Rakshishyati iti vishvasaha. Having this vishvasa, this faith that Krishna protects. Let's see. Anukulyasya sankalpa. Anyway, these 3 are enough for us to work on. Anukulyasya sankalpa means what? Accepting what's favorable, and pratikulyasya varjanam, rejecting what's not favorable. What would be common to both of these? Okay, sankalpa, and what would sankalpa mean?
You're determined to accept and determined to reject.
Okay, that's good. Or another way of putting it is, we're making a choice, right? We're making a choice. And that's what we're doing pretty much all day long, right? We're making choices. Jai Jagannath, Jai Shishi Gauranitai, Haribol. Okay, so the verse is part of this persuasion, which is persuading Priyavrata to make a good choice, and he's giving him reasons for making that choice. So we're doing this all day long. It's a lot of it, though, is out of habit. We do things, we make choices, but we've made the same choice every day out of habit, and most of those choices are good, but sometimes they're not so good, right? And what we're trying to do is make good choices, and we make good choices when we have good reasons. And the most basic good reason to do something is it's pleasing to Krishna. And the basic good reason to not do something is
It's not pleasing to Krishna.
it's not pleasing to Krishna. Exactly. Yeah. But the point I want to make is we're making choices, and that means we have some freedom. In this verse, we have the word vicharet. He can go. And the explanation that a person can leave family life is that he, and I would say, or she, has been practicing enough, making good choices, so that the power of kama is no longer determining the choice. Right? I think this would be a good way to put it. But the word vicharet, to me, vicharet, this is in the what's technically called the vidhi lean form of a verb, which Srila Prabhupada explains is a kind of imperative. It's can be very strong. You should go. But it also has a softer sense, is able to go. But also, vichara, with a long A, would mean to reflect, to think about, to consider, to weigh the options. So this idea we say in English, let me weigh the options. Let me think, should I do this, should I do that? A lot of times we find ourselves indecisive. Have you ever experienced indecision? No? In Switzerland we always know what to do. Yes? No? Huh? Huh? We vote. Yes. No, but if we have an individual, our own decision to make, sometimes we find it difficult to make the decision because we're trying to see what will the consequence be to do this or to do that. And one thing that I suggest can help when you find yourself not being able to decide. Of course, step one is consult with others, but step two is also make a list of favorable and unfavorable, 2 columns, or else 4 columns. If I do X, what results will there be? Plus, minus. If I do Y, what results will there be? Plus, minus. And then you add them all up, and if you get 10 pluses and 2 minuses, then maybe that's what you should do. Of course, the nature of us conditioned souls is there may be 10 minuses and 2 pluses. And because we just want to do it, we don't care what the consequence is. We do it anyway, and then we suffer. This is conditioned life. Manda sumanda matayo. Tatas chanunidam dharma satyam socham kshama daya. Balina kalina raja nangshatyayur balang smriti. In this age of Kali, day by day, all these different qualities that we think we have, we're losing them. I think a word for this is entropy. You know the word entropy? You might say kind of moral entropy. Entropy means things fall apart. Things degrade, things, it's a technical, physical word for physics. That which is, I think, Something which is organized becomes less organized, isn't it? Something like that. Entropy. Yeah, that's our predicament. And we have, despite that, we have power, and especially we have this power of choice. And we need to preserve and we need to exercise that choice. It's a bit like a muscle. Muscles need to be exercised, otherwise they become weak. And when they become weak, they become more or less useless. The Mana Shiksha of Raghunath Das Goswami, I think, is a very nice way to engage the mental muscle. It's consisting of 12 prayers to the mind, and there's one prayer in particular I've been, let's say, working on, number 5, yes. Asatcheshta prashta, asatcheshta kashta pradavikata pasha libiriha, prakamang kamadi prakatapati, prakatapatapati yatikarai. Gale badva hanyeham iti bakavit vartmapagane kuru tvang putkaran avati sayata tvam mana ita. You want to hear the translation? No? Yes. While here on the revealed path of devotion, this is a prayer to the mind, I have been attacked by the hideous gang of lust, etc. Lust, anger, greed, madness, confusion, envy, who have bound my neck, gale badva hanye. They've bound me by the neck with the troublesome, dreadful ropes of wicked deeds. Asatcheshta kashta. I am being killed. Hanyeham. And then the prayer to the mind, cry out piteously like this to the devotees of Sri Krishna, the destroyer of Baka, Bakabit. O mind, they will save you from these enemies. So, Gale Badva Hanye Ham Iti Bakabit Vartmapagane. Kurutvam, do this, O mind. Putkaran means piteously. In other words, do it with your heart. Please call out to the devotees to help. Hanye Ham, I'm being killed. We're all being killed by our lust, anger, greed, envy, etc., etc. It's killing us. If we actually were conscious of the danger, we would call out desperately like this. In this nice edition that was done by Urmila Devi, she included nice paintings, and for this painting, these are the devotees that are coming to protect, to save. It's Arjuna on the left, and Bhishma on the right, and Narada Muni flying in the air. So they're coming to protect the devotee from these dangers. Yeah. Okay, so that's also involving a choice, isn't it? To, oh, I'm having some trouble, let me get help. And how to get help, call out the devotees. And there's another way to get help. Do you want to know another way? No, we don't need any help. We're in Switzerland where we have everything under control. We can also get help from Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who has opened a market. What kind of a market? The market of the holy name. And there's good news. Boro Suker Kabar. Kabar is news, right? Suker Kabar. Surabi kunjete namer hatto kuleche. He has opened up Kule, this market. And as you might know, he invites us to participate in this market. And he says, let's see, Jadi nam kinbe by, O brother, if you purchase the name Amar Shonge Cholo Mahajaner Kache Jai, you will be coming into my association. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur giving this announcement that Nityananda Prabhu is there with the goods. He has the goods. He has the holy name. And you can come, and I will be there. Mahajaner Kache Jai. And the merchant, Mahajan means a great soul, a great person, but it also is, isn't it? It's a word for a businessman. Yeah?
Trader.
A trader. Yeah, specifically one who is trading. So the trader will be there. Tumi kinbe Krishnam danchuri loibo ami purna hobe kam. If you purchase Krishna's name, ami danchuri loibo, I will take my profit, right? What is danchuri exactly?
I'll take my share.
My share?
Dan.
Yeah, danchuri loibo, I will take my share. Purna hobe kam. And all kama, all desire will be fulfilled. My desire, your desire, everyone will be satisfied. Bodho Dayal Nityananda Shraddha Matra Loje Dain Parama Ananda. What is the price, one may well ask. If this is a market and you're selling something, first question will be, what is the price? And this is the good news. Or is it good news? Shraddha Matra. Merely Shraddha is the price. Now, we may either say, oh, great, so I don't have to pay any money. But there needs to be Shraddha. There needs to be faith. Oh. Well, I don't know if I can purchase then. So, ado Shraddha tata sadhu sango ata bhajana kriya. First, there has to be faith. Okay. So this is something we can do in this condition of the 6 powerful sapatnis, sapatnan, Whether we are householder, whether we are brahmachari or vanaprastha or sannyasi. One of my sannyas godbrothers told me when I was asking him for blessings to take steps to accepting sannyas. He was very kindly encouraging me, and he said, but we always have to be careful. And he told of one disciple of Srila Prabhupada who came to Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm free from lusty desire. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, really? What's wrong with you? So, yeah. So desire will always be there, and care must be taken. And we have a big market of Nityananda Prabhu, in which we can purchase the name simply for a little faith. That is our great opportunity. Nityananda Prabhu is persuading us to take part in this. The Bhagavatam is persuading us and dissuading us. We were talking about pushing and pulling, so there's dissuading, don't engage in sense gratification, and there's persuading, engage in service to Krishna. That's both things go together. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Comments, questions, thoughts? Yes. Microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I have two questions. One of them is in the six, the surrendering process, we have 6 items. One of them is to always feel oneself meek and humble. Mm-hmm. So can you please explain what it really means? And
what does it really mean? Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think of this. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya vardhanam rakshishya titi vishvasya bhoktritve varanam tata atma nikshepa karpanya. Karpanya, I believe, in this case, is humility. What does humility really mean? Yes. Srila Prabhupada has explained it in various ways, one of which is recognizing our position in relation to the Lord and accepting that position and engaging accordingly. It's to be distinguished from low self-esteem. In fact, humility can be quite the opposite. Humility can be, one can be humble and be very assertive at the same time. Why? Because one is humbly accepting a service which requires being very strongly assertive in some particular circumstance. That's one way of understanding. Another way of understanding is in terms of size. We are very small. We are infinitesimal. Srila Prabhupada once reminded the late Tamal Krishna Goswami when he was, he had just been appointed as, I don't remember, temple president maybe, in Los Angeles. And Srila Prabhupada told him, so now you are one person in one building, on one street, in one city, Los Angeles, which is one of numberless cities on this planet, and this planet is one planet amongst countless planets in this universe, and this universe is one universe amongst countless universes. And you are thinking, I am something special. So we could say that humility is the knowledge of our identity in such a way that we keep things in their proper perspective. And because we see things in their proper perspective, rather than being, completely insignificant, we become significant in our position, which is there's an immeasurable value to our lives. It's immeasurable because it is related with Krishna. So it's said, the more we develop our attraction, our love for Krishna, the more humble we become. And conversely, the more humble we become, the more attraction and love for Krishna naturally develops in our heart.
Maharaj, thank you so much for the explanation. But sometimes it's still very confusing for me, especially when we deal with each other, Sometimes you may be assertive, but then the other person might think you're not so humble. So sometimes...
The other person what?
The other person might think you're not so humble, but you could be assertive about something and it's right. Because all of us are different in natures and different thinking and everything.
Yes.
And apparently we all think we are right.
Apparently?
Apparently we all think we are right.
Yes, yes.
So,
I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right. Guess what? It's called the material world, and it's called Kali Yuga, and it's a few other things combined.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
What are the effects of not chanting with attention?
What are the effects of not chanting with attention? Well, one effect is that, yes, please come. Welcome. One effect is that Krishna might not pay attention to you. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, now you're going to get a small Sanskrit lesson. The Maha Mantra, all of the words in the Maha Mantra are in the Sambodhana case. That's the what is called in English the vocative case. Whenever we call out someone directly, calling them by name, I don't know, do we have a vocative in German? Not explicitly. But in Sanskrit there's the vocative form, which indicates that you're directly addressing that person. So Hare, Krishna, and Rama, all three of these are in the vocative case. So we're actually calling Hare Krishna. In and out, that was quick. So what we're doing when we're chanting is we're calling O Hari, O Hara, because the vocative of Hari and the vocative of hara are both hare. That's Sanskrit grammar, that's just how it is. Don't ask why. And the vocative of Krishna is Krishna. The nominative is Krishnaha, and the accusative is Krishnam, and the instrumental is Krishnena, and so on. But the vocative is Krishna, and the vocative of Rama is Rama. So it's easy. But it's good to remember this, I think, that when we're chanting, we're addressing Krishna. And when you address someone, you usually want that person to respond. Yes, you called. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, our prayer as we're chanting is, my dear Lord, please engage me in your service. And so if we're chanting nicely, then we will no doubt be blessed with service to Krishna. And if we're not attentive, Krishna might say, okay, she's not actually calling me. I don't know who she's calling. Some friend who happens to be named Krishna, I don't know. And then we might not get service from Krishna, we might instead get service from Maya. Yeah, and then we may suffer. Is that okay? Mm. Yes, go on.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. Taking the subject back to the ambiguity we were talking about in the Shastras. So we see that Shastras are ambiguous, and different time people can have a different interpretation of the same subject.
Mm-hmm.
So we see oftentimes when people are in position, they use these Shastras to pursue
As a hammer.
As a hammer, not which is good for you sometime, but which suits them.
Uh-huh. Uh-oh.
Sorry. It's a small family room, so we can...
Yes.
So how do we actually see that whether it's in my favor, or should I just accept it because someone is actually quoting me the Shastras?
Yeah, this can be difficult. It's true that Shastra can be often taken in different ways due to ambiguity or due to our circumstance. A nice example of this is Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, speaking to Arjuna on the battlefield, is convincing him to fight. And there's really no ambiguity there. However, some years later, and that's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, first canto, Arjuna, the battle is over, everything's over, and it's mentioned Arjuna is remembering Krishna's instructions, but now he's not remembering Krishna's instructions and concluding, oh, I should go fight. Rather, he's remembering Krishna's instructions and understanding, now I have to renounce. The same instruction. So, when someone is wanting to persuade you to do something and using Shastra as a hammer, then you may need to say, well, let's talk about this. You know, you haven't convinced me, even though what you've said, even though you've selected something from Shastra that may be by itself arguing your case, but there may be another way of understanding this. If someone is, you know, there is this danger with Shastra. Yesterday we talked about there's Shastra and there's Shastra, and there's a danger that Shastra gets misused. And you mentioned interpretation, and one, I think, need of the day and the week and the month in our society is for devotees to become competent interpreters of Shastra. And for that purpose, there is a very carefully thought out and written handbook, which is for a course on the subject of interpretation, which the Shastra Advisory Council of the GBC developed over a period of years, and which is still very little known in our society, but which is has been given as a course, as a beginning course for a small number of devotees. I think you may have attended the course. How did you find it? Yeah. So I've sometimes thought that this course needs to be much more widely attended. I think it should be some sort of standard on some level. I was thinking a starting point would be anyone who has completed Bhakti Shastri should then do this hermeneutics course. Some devotees get a little disturbed, even frightened by the word hermeneutics. It's just an English word for interpretation, but because devotees have never heard it, it sounds like, I don't know, some medical term. It sounds like, you know, we're going to get our an operation on our brain or something, you know. But there's, I think, much value in that, because it can shift engagement with Shastra from, I would say, interpretation in the mode of ignorance and passion to interpretation in the mode of goodness. And then from there, interpretation in Shuddha Sattva. Yeah. Yes, David.
I had a question relating to the translation.
And also bits of the purport where Srila Prabhupada mentions how he mentions this whole aspect of overcoming lustly desires. Then from Grihastha ashram, he proceeds unto Vanaprastha and then to sannyas.
Mm-hmm.
And we also see throughout Srimad Bhagavatam there are different instances of how these personalities, they enter into Vanaprastha ashram. For example, they go alone with the wife. That's how it's mentioned, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand then that the personalities in the male body enter into sannyas. What happens to the wife? What's
yes.
then? Because we also have from Canto 3 the story of Devahuti,
Yeah.
and how she takes shelter of a Krishna conscious son who is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, in terms of spiritual hierarchy or advancement in Krishna consciousness, after the husband takes sannyas, and what is the duty of the wife?
That's Yeah, that's something which Prabhupada would say simply, then she is taken care of by her sons, her grown sons. But you're asking an interesting question, or a significant question. So what about the spiritual advancement? I would say the basic answer would be some sort of ashram in terms of not vanaprastha sannyas ashram, but ashram in terms of community. There needs to be community in which devotees are sheltered. I mean, that's true of all of us. We all need community. And then I think it would be an interesting question to approach from an ethnographic perspective, which means speaking with the former wives of sannyasis and asking them, so, where did you go, what did you do, what results have you had, what's been your experience? Because I don't see a whole lot in Shastra telling what about the wives, or the former wives of sannyasis. One of the reasons for that could be that Shastra is, for the most part, written by men, and Brahmins in particular, Brahmin men, and they seem to be in the Shastra that we're familiar with, not addressing this. And so I couldn't give you a Shastric answer on that, but I think it would be an interesting question to research about. And Srila Prabhupada, of course, as you probably know, encouraged Yamuna Devi and Dinatarini to start a ladies' ashram, which they ran for some time. And there was also a ladies' ashram for some time Malati Devi had in Columbus, Ohio. Those are the only two I know of. So I can't really say much more on that subject. On Vanaprastha, there's, I'm expecting, we can expect, I think, a book by His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. He said, I think it's already a year ago or so, he mentioned that he's writing a book about Vanaprastha, based on what Prabhupada says about Vanaprastha, because he wants to promote Vanaprastha in ISKCON. It says in this purport, at age 50, 50 years or slightly more. Interesting. Yeah, this is all I can say on that. Right, so I wish you all a wonderful Ekadashi Titi, and thank you all for your kind attention, and let us remember, one who is situated in household life and who systematically conquers his mind and 5 sense organs is like a king in his fortress who conquers his powerful enemies. After one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have decreased, he can move anywhere without danger. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Lord Brahma ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Krishna Ksetra Maharaj ki jai.
And
you're here.
No, I'm just here for some time. I will go back in August.
Oh,
Just for something. Just traveling a bit.
you're taking a break.
I'm taking a break. Because I have so many services and everything. And I just also wanted to see some other people. So I'm
Yeah. Nice.
Nice to see you. I sent you a picture to Shravana Mataji.
Oh.
And also Shashi Narasimha. Shashi Narasimha.
Shiva.
Not Shiva, yeah.
Krishna Krishna